Today, we're going to talk about, should you wear squat shoes? So this one's a big debate. The idea behind this conversation is a squat shoe going to make you stronger or weaker? Well, the squat shoe is supposed to help you become stronger, correct? Some of us are built a little different. In a previous video of mine, I was talking about top cues for a better squat. I was talking a lot about the foot anatomy, and I was talking about how some people are flat-footed, some people have a high arch, and that can affect their ability to squat. But if you change something about your stance and how you grip the floor, that can make you a much better squatter to be more stronger. And that's the thing with squat shoes. The idea is to help have more foot contact with the floor to be stronger. Now, physically, it's going to be hard to demonstrate this, so I've had to use my hands and some different ways to showcase to you what I'm talking about. But when you squat, it really depends if you're a heel elevated squatter or if maybe you have good ankle mobility. So what I mean by that is this. Here's the floor and here's your foot, okay? When some people squat, what happens is, if I turn my body around, when I squat, I want to make sure the barbell, okay, which is on my back, comes down and is over the midfoot of my body. So when I squat, sometimes people let the squat and slide forwards, or maybe they squat and they favor the midfoot or a little bit of their heels. Where do you squat and how you squat is going to have an impact on if you should wear your squat shoes. And if you're a heel elevated squatter, or if you have really good ankle mobility. So ankle mobility means that your ankle is able to flex a ton under pressure. So like right here, my hand can only go up so much, but if I have really good mobility, okay, I'm almost at a 90-degree angle with my hand. The thing about it is when you squat, your knees are tempted to go past your toes if you lean forward. Now, as that happens and you're squatting, if you start to squat and your heels come off the floor, that's the kind of person who might want to invest in squat shoes. Because now what happens is when you squat, if your heels come up and you have lost contact with the floor, that elevation, that squat shoe has a thick heel at the back. It's like angled. If you have that squat shoe on, now what happens is you're able to push your heels into the floor to be more stable with your lift. So one thing I want you to do for homework today is I want you to get a side view of your squat on your video, record it, and I want you to see what happens to your heels. So as you squat down, maybe you're more of a front squatter, that you're more front dominant. If you start to slide forward and you watch that video, I want to see if your heels raise. Now, if your heels do raise because you lean forward, it's a little bit of a concern based off of strength and mechanics, and that's a whole video of itself right there. But if you're one of those people, when you watch your videos and your heels always come up, you might want to invest in those squat shoes because now you have more foot contact with the floor to have better stability and better surface area to push off the floor to be stronger. Now, if you squat and you notice that as you get lower, that your foot stays flat from start to finish, then squat shoes might not necessarily be the investment you want to have. Because here's a problem. Some people have such good ankle mobility to where their ankles can flex a ton and their feet stay on the floor. If you wear those squat shoes, what happens is they'll make you lean forward more than you would want to, okay? So essentially, when you think about squat shoes, you want to know if your heels come off the floor and if you have good or bad ankle mobility. Because if you have bad ankle mobility and your heels raise, that heel support helps you get in contact with the floor from start to finish to be more stable. Now, if you have great ankle mobility and your heels stay on the floor the whole squat, you having a raised heel might make you lean forward and get out of position and feel weaker. This has happened to a ton of my clients that I've had in the past. So a lot of times we dictate our decision on squat shoes based on their ankle mobility and how their feet work during their squat. Now, one thing I want to suggest to people is if you do think your heels raise, You might also want to try different squat variations too, like a box squat, where you teach your hips to go backwards instead of going forwards. That could be another solution too. So essentially, with all things being said, you got some homework to do. I want you to record a side view of your squat. If your heels raise off the floor, you might want to invest in squat shoes, but do some box squats for about 4 weeks. Learn how to stand back, come forward, get your hips stronger, and maybe you're just at a strength deficit. You don't know how to recruit your hips properly. But if you have good ankle mobility and you watch your video and you notice your feet stay flat from start to finish, you might not want to invest in those squat shoes because those shoes might make you lean forward, and then you start to have low back issues and you start to use muscles you weren't wanting to use in the first place. So again, you might want to check this thing out through video just to make sure that you are in the right position to either invest or not invest in squat shoes. I know it's a short video. We're digging into super lengthy detail, but that's kind of the point of powerlifting technique. The point is for us to give you direct answers. And also, I invite you guys, if you're not sure about your squat form or your technique, or if you should use squat shoes, maybe leave a comment below. Subscribe, like the channel, and leave a comment. Maybe you can let us know, hey, on my YouTube channel, I just posted my squat. Can you give it a look? So tag us, let us see your squat. Let's see where your technique is, if it's good, if it's bad, if you want some help and you want some tips. Like I said, just leave a comment below and we can look at it and help you out as well. That's the point of powerlifting technique too. We're here to help people with their lifts, to get stronger, to get bigger, and to also lift safer. So again, my name is Joseph Lucero, Powerlifting Technique. Check us out, subscribe, like, leave a comment. Let us know if you had a squat video you want us to look at, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much, guys.